Hi Internet, welcome to the Greg Troyan YouTube channel, and welcome to Greg's 14 Adventures, a weekly vlog where I discuss my journey through Final Fantasy XIV as a first-time player. I beat A Realm Reborn back in 2022, and I'm finally finishing up the rest of the game. These vlogs are documenting my journey. If you like these videos and want to support their continued production, the best way to do that is to like the video, share it on a relevant social media site like Reddit, and leave a comment. And don't forget to check out the playlist of previous episodes, linked in the description and pinned comment. Thanks, pal. Hey everybody, it's your buddy Greg. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great life. Had a lot of extra stuff come up this week, so I didn't get quite as much progress in my giant 14 to-do list as I was hoping. You know, what I was saying I was hoping to accomplish in the last vlog. It didn't quite get done this week, but still managed to get through an entire holiday, an entire seasonal event, got through the Little Ladies' Day events that I'd missed over the years, and there were some really cool hidden gems in there that I thought were really good, and it's making this entire experience of doing this filler arc worthwhile because there are things in there that I never would have seen otherwise that I think are worthy of discussion and pretty cool and worthy of sharing with you. So last week's vlog, I ended up finishing really late, like Friday morning, because of all the catching up of stuff I had to do after being back home from Florida. So, you know, ordinarily I like to play a little bit more on Fridays to prepare for next week's vlog, like to get a head start, but I didn't really have time to do that. I really wanted to play the Maiden's Rhapsody, but didn't have time for that before work. So really all I had time to do was, you know, logging in quick Friday morning to do the fast report. But then I saw that I had a Moogle letter and got the Furion outfit for both Greg Troyan and for Lito, which was awesome. And speaking of outfits for Greg Troyan, Radel Girl, after watching last week's video, offered to craft me the calfskin outfit that I wanted for Greg Troyan, and she went ahead and did that, and so awesome, it's so great. I feel when playing as Greg Troyan with that outfit on, more like me, like it really feels like, yes, that is me in this game, which is awesome. You know, a lot of 14 players base their characters off themselves, and a lot of 14 players also like role play and create like an entirely new character. And, you know, I've done both. I started with trying to make the one based off me, and then the one that's more of a role play character. And I do like playing as the role play character better, but that just, I don't know, that outfit just like, it hit just right. You know, it reminded me of my outfits that I wear on stage, so just like really awesome. And so I sent her a DM thanking her for it, but it didn't go through. Like I typed up the message, hit send, and then it didn't process like going through. And so I felt bad and apologized to her later, like, I'm sorry, I hit send and then it didn't go through. But, you know, she was super chill about it, and I'm just extremely grateful for that. And I actually did the glamour plate for the first time with this new outfit, and I'm not sure how to undo it, but I think this glamour plate could just be applied to like new and better outfits that I get. So as I get better gear, I'll just keep applying the glamour plate. I don't know if it's costing me glamour prisms to do this, but hey, it looks great right now, and it's awesome. I took a picture in front of Radel Girl's house with Brute Bomber, or her retainer that looks like Brute Bomber. I don't know anything about Brute Bomber other than he is in the Dawn Trail patch quest, ? And Radel Girl really likes him. So like I know what he looks like, and I know that Radel Girl likes him, and that's basically all I've got on this character. I don't know how to change the outfits of retainers, so I'm very curious as to like how one does that. But, you know, nice to get a G-pose picture with my new outfit and, you know, the guy that Radel Girl likes quite a bit. Then after that, I did the Iroha quest as Lito, the Maiden's Rhapsody, and I got a lot of feels doing it, being honest. And I think part of it is because I played Final Fantasy XI as Lito and then brought that character into 14. And so, you know, one of the big things about the quest is that the character that you play as in 14, the Warrior of Light, reminds her of her master from Vana'diel. And when I was playing as Greg Troyan, it didn't quite hit because Lito is a Tarotaro and Greg Troyan is like, you know, a human male. And so even though I played as Lito, like it didn't quite hit the same way as actually having the character Lito from 11 and then Iroha with her amnesia not realizing like, no, that is your master standing in front of you. Like my headcanon is that Lito at the end of Rhapsodies of Vana'diel teleports into Eorzea, and then after all of his Eorzea adventures, he teleports back and does the Voracious Resurgence. So that is my headcanon, that is my timeline. But yeah, to have Lito and Iroha reunited, you know, as someone who's like, you know, you guys know me. Well, maybe you know me. If this is your first time here, hi, welcome. A random video to start watching, but hey, I'm glad the feed showed it to you. But for those of you who know me, y'all know I love 11. 11 is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, and I do get invested in characters and character relationships. And so Laito and Iroha being reunited, master and student, I felt that. I thought that was awesome. As far as the quest itself, this is my third time doing it. I did it once as Gred Troyan, back, I think 2022, and then 2024, Summoner Jobin and I actually did it together. But this is my first time doing it as Laito, because Laito didn't exist back then in the World of 14. I hadn't made him as a character. And so, for most of the duties, I ended up, finding other players who were doing the duty at the same time and doing it with them. But one of the fights, the hardest and longest one, I ended up doing solo. And that one I remember being a pain in the butt every time I've done this quest. So it was still a pain in the butt, but, satisfying to get through this quest line. I did notice some issues with the patch update. There were times where just the sound just completely disappeared, the music was just gone. And it did kill the vibe of the quest a little bit. And I'm just I remember music being here. And then I read some stuff on Reddit nope, okay, patch issues, got it. So I'm actually pretty glad I'm doing the filler arc right now because, I want to enjoy the content the way it's intended to be enjoyed, with the full music and not just here's awkward silence. So, what good time to do the filler arc while they fix the bugs. But yeah, so speaking of the filler arc, this week's item off the checklist was watching all the Little Ladies Day events I missed over the years. So Little Ladies Day was the first seasonal event I ever did in Final Fantasy XIV. I saw a bunch of people gathered in Ul'dah, and I was what's going on? And I thought, can free trial players even do this? Is this something that's behind a paywall? And so I was shyly asked a player hey, can free trial players do the Little Ladies Day event? And I even asked them what it was. Look, I saw the peach blossom cherry trees and everyone gathered. I'm what's this? And they're it's Little Ladies Day. And I'm can I do Little Ladies Day? It was a very cute sprout behavior. But because of that, Little Ladies Day always has a special meaning to me because, it was my first seasonal event. And because we don't necessarily have Little Ladies Day in America necessarily.
Editor's note. Greg is aware Little Ladies Day is a made-up holiday and combines two Japanese holidays together.
And so it makes the holiday even more special that way. But we do, at least in Nashville, actually have a pretty big Cherry Blossom Festival every year. I posted a little bit about on my Discord back when I went. I do love Cherry Blossom Festival. I love the vibes of it. And so yeah, Little Ladies Day I love the aesthetic. I love the vibes. And it was nice to watch these cutscenes right after Mother's Day because, that's a day where you treat mothers like a princess. And, it's never too late to treat a lady like a princess. No matter what era of her life she's in, you should treat your lady like a princess, whether she be your daughter, your wife, treat the little ladies like princesses. So I was definitely in the mood for Little Ladies Day. So, starting off with 2014, that was all about showcasing a doll made by the Goldsmiths Guild and taking it to the 3 city states to try to win a doll contest of what's the best doll in all the realm. And so the doll is modeled after Princess Edvia, who Little Ladies Day is based on. It was her experience that inspired Little Ladies Day to become a, big holiday in Eorzea. And so the dolls in Final Fantasy XIV seem to have varying degrees of sentience, and the Princess Edvia doll seems to get depressed at the idea of being auctioned off to the highest bidder. And so she ends up not showing up at the contest because she breaks down and we need to repair her. And then after we get her repaired, we find out that the doll has grown attached to us. And so we decide to take the doll with us and get the wind-up Princess Edvia, which is really nice. It's a really cute little quest. Great start to Little Ladies Day. 2015's Little Ladies Day event is about a merchant father named Nanapasi trying to impress his daughter Ninimo with a display of life-size dolls for Little Ladies Day. And so to help make the dolls, authentic in the style of the ones from the Thorn Dynasty, we do a repeatable quest using the Decipher action to find treasure chests, which I made a note, is this Wondrous Tales? Is this what Wondrous Tales is? I know Wondrous Tales is on my list to do, and so that was something that definitely stood out okay, Decipher and looking for treasure chests. I think that's what Wondrous Tales is from what I've heard, but I don't remember exactly. It is interesting to lock a seasonal event behind a optional piece of side content, which Square hasn't really done since then. So I wonder if they did that and then decided, we want to make sure that every new player can do these events and don't force them to do a side quest to do this event. But it was definitely interesting and surprising to see that. But yeah, so use the Decipher ability, fight off some enemies, get materials of old dolls from the old dynasty, and take them back to Nanapasi's workers to help make some more dolls. And so, like I said, this is a repeatable quest. And so as the server works together and does the repeatable quest, the stage fills up with more and more dolls, which is a really interesting concept that the quest doesn't finish until the server works together. And so that does leave a sense of lingering with doing these seasonal events where you don't get that immediate satisfaction. Just all right, I did the event and I got my reward. It's oh, you got to keep doing this like everybody on the server. And so that's a really interesting approach to doing it. And I can also see why they thought it was a good idea at the time, but stopped doing it in the future. As far as rewards for this quest, you could buy a cherry blossom tree and a rug, which became sort of staples of Little Lady's Day. And what's really wild when watching this footage is that I saw some crystal braves hanging out in the background. I'm like, oh, this must have been between patches. And so at a time when just like the crystal braves were just sort of hanging out everywhere, it's really interesting what a time capsule, this video of the seasonal event is. But anyway, once the server does enough of the repeatable quests, a new quest opens up where Nanapasi shows the display to his daughter. And Ninamo explains that she loves the display, but what she really wanted was just to spend time with him and to make dolls together. And so it was all about just like wanting quality time, not so much about the dolls, but just about, spending time with her dad. And so they clear up the misunderstanding and decide to work on dolls together, and we get a necklace as a reward. And it was a cute quest. It was really cute. I liked it. I mean, yeah, Little Lady's Day, generally cute, and yeah, another really good one. 2016's event was all about the introduction of the Songbirds, an up-and-coming pop group. Since Flamin vanished, there's been a void in Olda entertainment world, and people are hoping the Songbirds will fill that void. And so what really stood out to me immediately in this quest is that the Songbirds are preteens? Because I always read them as like in their late teens, early 20s, and preteen means like 12, like 11 or 12. They don't look like 11-year-old. 12-year-olds, I can like maybe buy that, but like the fact that they're performing that much at like age 12 feels like pretty intense and ridiculous to me. My headcanon says they are not preteens, especially like the way they talk and communicate. That does not feel like a 12-year-old. But I mean, since like I guess the seasonal events are like every year, that does mean they're not preteens like in the current iteration of the game, if you consider each seasonal event to be a different year in the canon of 14's world. But also, in the 2017 seasonal event, they're still called preteens, which means, like, they're 11 here? That, I do not accept them as being 11-year-olds. That is ridiculous. But anyway, we meet the Songbirds, Ulala, Narumi, and Masha Makaraka. And I have a note here saying, hey, I thought the Mikote naming convention was like the letter of the first name of like whoever was like the leader of their tribe, like the male that, did all the breeding. So like it'd be like the M and then like the apostrophe and then like the rest of their name. And so is there like a different naming convention based upon different tribes of Mikote? So I made a note about that, and I'm assuming that Radel Girl will answer this in the comments or live chat. So thank you in advance, Radel Girl, for answering that lore question. But yeah, the quest is basically handing out flyers to promote the Songbirds, which gave me some like intense PTSD flashbacks of my band days of just like going around town and putting up posters in all of the different like music shops, like record stores, restaurants that allow posters, handing out flyers. Like, yeah, that just immediately brought me back. But yeah, after the quest, you can talk with the Songbirds to get to know them better and cast a vote to decide who will be their leader. And so you can cast more votes by repeating the quest, though based on the video I watched, it didn't seem like it offered any additional rewards for doing that. The 2017 quest involved us traveling around Eorzea to find the missing Songbirds. So they went traveling around the realm to look for new outfit ideas, and ended up going missing. So we go to Limsa, Gridania, and Horizon to find them. And of course, the reason we go to Horizon and not Ulda is because the quest starts in Ulda. So you have to go like somewhere that's Ulda, but not Ulda. So Horizon is what they ended up landing on there. After finding the Songbirds, we take them to the Weavers Guild to beg Redolent Rose to make their new costumes despite showing up late. And it looks like he's going to be a hard ass and not help us, but then it's revealed that he's actually a super fan and is excited to do it. This would probably land better if I had watched the Weaver questline first, but by that same token, it's made me excited to watch the Weaver questline when I get to it on my list. But yeah, then after that, you have to pick one of 3 quests to decide which Songbird will lead that night's performance. And the guy whose video I watched picked Ulala and said, fine, we're picking the Lalafell for once, which made me laugh. There seems to be a lot of Lalafell hate from Final Fantasy XIV fans, specifically looking at you, EGP Tekken. But I think Lalafells are cool. They're not like Taru cool, but they're still pretty cool. Anyway, that quest where you pick one of the 3 Songbirds is literally just a cutscene giving more characterization to the Songbird of your choice, and it leads into the next quest of the event, where basically the costumes are done, it's time for the show, and you get rewarded with the Songbird emote. And as far as other rewards, you could exchange certificates from doing the quest for a Songbird outfit that was pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty cute outfit. 2018's event involves trading Little Ladies Day certificates to the Weavers Guild and the Alchemist Guild to get outfits and glow sticks to participate in the Little Ladies Day fate. The fate is very similar to the one in 2026, where you wear an outfit color themed to a specific songbird and then cheer them on with glow sticks. And watching this footage, the 2026 outfits are definitely way better, and the fate seems much more refined now, but the concept is still good in its initial state, and it's cool to see its origins. And so you get 3 new cheer emotes from doing the quest. And after that, another quest opens up where you hear about a sad girl watching the event alone, and the songbirds and seneschal worry about her and ask you to go find who this mysterious, lonely little maiden is. And so we talk to the lonely girl, and she is upset about her necklace having gone missing. And so she gives us a sketch of the area where it went missing in Thanlan, and this quest has no quest marker, so you just have to, know the terrain well enough to figure out where her necklace likely is. And so we go and get the necklace, but it's really old and rusty, like it's been there for a long time, which is really suspicious. And so we go and give the necklace to her, and she talks about how she always dreamed of being doted on for Little Ladies Day, being treated like a princess. And so we bow and act as her seneschal, and she asks us to give the jewelry to a man named Torben. And so we give it to Torben, and he explains that decades ago, his aunt was kidnapped, sold into slavery, likely sex slavery, murdered, and never got to experience Little Ladies Day, but always dreamed of being treated like a princess. And so he hopes that we were able to finally bring her spirit to rest. And I got teary-eyed with this one. It was simple, but really powerful. The level of tragedy in the quest, the bittersweetness of just it's true to reality in so many ways. There's so many girls who just will watch a Disney movie and dream of being treated like a princess. But, through the unfortunate circumstances, maybe being born in Ukraine and then a bomb drops upon their family's house. And, they struggle to survive and just die like a miserable, lonely, sad death, in the throes of war or get sold into slavery. We live in a dark world with a lot of suffering, and I understand the desire to alleviate suffering and to give people hope and happiness. And so to give someone who has experienced such horrors the ability to have some semblance of peace and get treated like a princess, I'm getting teary-eyed just talking about it. Beautiful stuff. Goddamn, just amazing. I am crying about a seasonal event in Final Fantasy XIV. Not just MSQ, but this seasonal event is so good. This post-quest, this, one of the strongest seasonal events, bittersweet, beautiful, poetic, and this is 100% worth doing my quote-unquote homework and watching all these on YouTube. Seriously, I was so impressed with this. And I love that they went there. I love that they were willing to do something so sad and bleak, but still hopeful at the same time. It was beautiful. Beautiful. I'm fine. This is fine. Okay, we're good. We're back at it. So 2019's event introduces us to Aldithia Thorn, a descendant of the Thorn dynasty who are tied to the origins of Little Ladies Day. And so Aldithia has gone missing, and it's really concerning because she has ill health, and she loves Little Ladies Day, but due to her sickness, she's been unable to attend in recent years. And so she sneaks out, and her attendant, Rodolph, asks the adventurer to help find her. And so we find Aldithia, and she explains the legend of Little Ladies Day inspired her to try to bring joy to the people of the city, like her ancestors did, but being ill, she figured she could not do it herself. And so she decided to grow daisies for the celebration, but as the flowers grew, her health began to improve, and she felt confident about being actually out during Little Ladies Day. And so she doesn't know if her health will last, if her improvement will continue to go on the up and up, or if it's just a temporary upswing, but she wants to enjoy Little Ladies Day while she can. And so to bring joy to the people of Oda on Little Ladies Day, we go around and deliver flower crowns to different girls. There's a really cute interaction of giving a flower crown to a middle-aged woman and her partner acting as her seneschal. That's a really cute little scene. I liked it a lot. But unfortunately, doing all of this, walking around the city, exhausts Aldithia, and so we decide to get her a carriage to take her home. And while waiting for her carriage, she tells the story of how Sultan Baldric would serve as seneschal every Little Ladies Day, and one year a girl gave him daisies as a thank you for being a seneschal. And so daisies are considered to be a commoner flower beneath the nobility because they're so easy to grow. But because the Sultan recognized the hard work that the girl put into raising the daisies, he wore the daisies as a crown that day. And so that's what inspired Aldithia to grow daisies and give them out on Little Ladies Day. And Rodolph says that Aldithia deserves to be treated as a princess as well and gives her a crown of daisies as he always wanted to be a seneschal and take care of a lady on Little Ladies' Day. And once again, really cute quest. These quests are all super cute. And afterwards, you can give a flower crown to different NPCs, most of them being guild leaders in Ulta that I'm not really familiar with at this point, but I'll get to know once I get through my giant list of YouTube cutscenes to watch. But you can actually talk to Biggs and Wedge and give them a flower crown, and they talk about setting up base in Ralgar's Reach, Sid being depressed, Omega, and missing a character named Alpha, which I assume are all spoilers for the upcoming Omega raids. Because thus far, I don't know about them setting up base in Ralgar's Reach. I don't know about Sid being depressed. I know about Omega being a thing. As far as like a character named Alpha, like, okay, Alpha and Omega, all right, that's cool. The beginning and the end. And then we see a character who looks like the Chocobo from the Chocobo's Dungeon series, but, wearing a pilot outfit. And I wondered to myself, is that Alpha? Is he wearing Ironworks outfit? Is he just like going to be like another member of the crew? And it doesn't sound like based upon, their dialogue that Alpha dies. So does he just like go away on an adventure? Why are they so sad about it? So for me, I generally don't mind spoilers. I'm only avoiding spoilers for the sake of the vlog to make the content more interesting. But for me, spoilers like this are kind of fun because they just make me have a bunch of questions about like where we're going to end up, how we get to this point. And so now I have more questions like, is that Alpha? Why is Sid depressed? Like, it's giving me a bunch of stuff to look forward to and be excited about, and wondering how we get to those points. So in general, I don't mind spoilers. Avoiding spoilers just to make these vlogs more interesting. But this has made me really excited for the Omega raids because I'm like, how did this all fit together? It's almost like a teaser trailer almost. We're just like, ooh, here's all these things you might see. How is that going to fit in? So yeah, I'm very excited for the Omega raids based upon this spoiler that I got. Moving on to 2020, we hear about a sad and lonely Lalafell girl, and because it's Little Ladies' Day, we must help a lady in need. And so we go and find the sad and lonely Lalafell girl, Mamoru, and find out she's a patient at the children's hospital, Frondale's Frontistery, and she tells us that her and her friend Lori, another patient at the hospital, vowed to get better to celebrate Little Ladies' Day together, but only Mamoru got well enough to leave the hospital for the day. And so we decide that if the children at the hospital can't come to the Little Ladies' Day festival, we'll bring the Little Ladies' Day festival to them. We'll decorate the hospital and bring them all some nice Little Ladies' Day cheer. And I have a note as a fun fact. So I keep a Word doc of interesting words I've learned from playing Final Fantasy XI and Final Fantasy XIV to increase my vocabulary and better help me as a writer because they tend to throw in a lot of interesting esoteric words, and I think it's good to, increase one's vocabulary. And so when looking up Frontistery, I found a website called the Frontistery, which is basically all just lists of words like that. And so that was a really cool little find. But yeah, I might be pronouncing Frontistery wrong, but you know what? There was someone who once said to me, I forget who it was, but they said, I'm never going to judge someone for pronouncing a word wrong because it's clear that they learned it from reading it. And that was a really cool thing. You want to encourage learning. So yeah, hopefully I'm saying it right, but if not, I'll learn eventually. But anyway, so while the kids are away at their doctor exams, we get the hospital decorated, and we also convince Redolent Rose to come and visit because Lori loves weaving. And so it's basically like a Make-A-Wish thing where we get someone cool that the kids are into to, raise their spirits. And it's really heartfelt. I really like it. Man, the vibes for Little Ladies' Day are just so warm and cozy and just wonderful. So heartfelt and sincere. And so afterwards, you can invite different NPCs from your adventures to meet with the kids, people in professions they're interested in, like cooks and warriors and stuff. Jandeline was absolutely hilarious if you chose him, just freaking awesome. And there was a character named Cal Mick, who was from some side quest in Heavensward that I never ended up doing, and another character named Gioran from some Stormblood side quest that I haven't done. So I guess I got spoiled on those characters, kinda. But yeah, with that, I caught up on Little Ladies' Day because my first Little Ladies' Day was in 2022, and the 2021 Little Ladies' Day event was one I covered last week because it was a crossover with Valentine's Day. So yeah, I am caught up on Little Ladies' Day. And, I think Little Ladies' Day is kind of like a sleeper holiday in 14, where it's, I think, a lot better than maybe given credit for and has a lot more heart. And especially the one quest with the ghost girl. That was so good. That was one of the best things I've seen in all of 14. And it's locked behind a seasonal event that's long since gone that you'll only find if you look it up on YouTube. It is wild how good that is versus how accessible it is. Yeah, really strong stuff. And once again, this is worth the journey. This is, one reason why I'll often listen to a band's entire catalog is because there is a great song that maybe wasn't a hit that people might not know about, but it is as good or better than the stuff on the radio. And that's what that Little Ladies Day event was. That was peak 14, phenomenal. That's the kind of stuff that is going to raise 14 into my top shelf of favorite Final Fantasy games. That kind of shit, fantastic. But yeah, as far as other playing this week, we finally started the Crystal Tower questline, Summoner Jobin and my alt character Gredtroyan. Because as a reminder, Lito, he just completed Stormblood. But Gredtroyan and Jobin, we're still in the A Realm Reborn patch content, baby. And so we ended up talking for 45 minutes before we even started to do the quest line. And so Jobin asked, so how long do you think before we get to Heavensward? And I joked, next year. Which was partially a joke, but I was we are chatty Cathy's every time we start playing. Unless we are with a group of other people, in which case we tend to be more on the ball. But yeah, I said hey man, if you want to actually get to Heavensward, maybe we'll do the talking for 15 minutes and then jump into the quest. But also, in fairness, we had a lot of stuff to catch up on because we hadn't played together in a couple weeks. And, we both had, a lot of, personal stories to share. So, we had a reason to talk longer this time. But also, we talk a lot, when we start playing. Don't get to it. And, I was on really hard time constraints. And so, I had to, really bounce at certain times. We just really were crunched. But yeah, what was really fun about that when we were doing the Crystal Tower questline is that Rockindonkey decided to join us and hang out. And basically just chatted with us in between cutscenes and just sort of hung out there. And so that was really cool that they came to hang with us. We still have 2 quests before we unlock the first raid in the Crystal Tower questline. So, we're going to have to be less of chatty Cathy's next week and get on the ball unlocking those so that we can play with our big group, which is going to be really fun to do a raid with all the people on the Discord. That's going to be so fun. I'm so looking forward to that. But yeah, that's basically it for this week's vlog. So I did get some actual 14 playing in by doing the Maiden's Rhapsody as Lito and the Crystal Tower stuff with Summoner Jobin. And next week I feel is going to be even less playing because I don't really have anything in particular I need to do as Lito aside from the fashion report. So it's going to be cutscenes, baby. Cutscenes in Crystal Tower. So what is next up on the list? It looks like... Ooh, Hatching Tide is next on the list. I said at the beginning of this vlog, I don't want to say what I hope to get done next week, but you need a bit of a preview, right? All right, come on. Hatching Tide and Moonfire Fair. Can I get both done? Can I get both done next week? Fingers crossed. Let's find out. All right, and I still have to finish doing that voice acting gig too, because I did some pre-work for it, but I still have more of it to do. So, come on, at least Hatching Tide. The great Final Fantasy XIV filler art continues. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on the different Little Ladies Day events. And yeah, I'll see you in the comments and in the next video. Bye, everyone.